Hey guys, welcome to Code Decode. In this video, we're going to look into Agentic AI roadmap, starting from very scratch, what to learn, and taking you to a creating of production grade AI application using generative and agentic AIs. So let's get started. For a quick introduction, we all know AI is growing and evolving faster than ever. We have moved from using a simple chatbot to creating a proper AI agents which do all your tasks end to end autonomously. But with so many frameworks out there, so many models, so many concepts out there, we feel overwhelmed. We never know what is a Bible for AI, what is the path we should follow so that we don't divert from our own AI learning path and not get inside the ML models or Python kind of stuff. So, being a Java developer, we should know the exact path that this is what we need to learn so that AI helps in increasing our performance and productivity rather than getting into stuff called as Python learning or machine learning kind of stuff. So, whether you are Java developer or software developer or backend or front end or AI engineer, anything, this roadmap will help you learn the right topics in the correct order. This roadmap is basically divided into 8 phases where each phase builds on its previous one. So we'll start with very basics of AI, move to agents, move to memory, tool calling, RAG, MCPs, multi-agent system, and finally we will be able to build a production-ready enterprise application. So let's begin with a quick introduction of phases. Phase 0, you will learn about AI foundations. Phase 1, we will learn about LLM application development. Phase 2, we will use how to integrate with Spring AI. Now, this is very specific. If you are backend developer, do not skip this phase. The third phase is RAG based. Fourth is agentic AI fundamentals. Fifth will be using those agentic AI fundamentals to create an agent. The sixth will help you create multi-agent system because this is very important for creating an enterprise level application. Not just one agent will be able to do all your tasks end to end. The last one will be agentic AI engineering and AI architecture for Java developers. So with the start, you will understand the AI fundamentals, only what is necessary, not what is Python, what is machine learning, no. Only the basic AI foundation that you as a developer, a full stack backend or any developer, what you really need to know. A Java at the end, by completing this roadmap, you will be able to build, design, deploy, and maintain AI and agentic AI applications. Remember, by the end, you will be able to create the AI applications or agentic AI applications using Spring Boot and modern AI technologies, and you won't have to do anything and everything manually.
Hey guys, so recently we have launched a very new course on Udemy, that is Spring Security 7. So now we have total of 2 courses, one on the Spring Security, second on the full stack application with all the deployment, pipelines, CI/CD, AWS Cloud, Kubernetes, everything. In Spring Security, we have covered authentication, authorization, filter chains, CRAN types, JWTs, OIDCs, SSO, CSRF, CORS, and very important, we have created here also a full stack project with a front end, back end, and security is implemented using Auth0 and Keycloak. Both of those authorization servers we have defined and created an end-to-end POC in this course. And the next course was on a full stack application where you understand microservices, Angular, JUnits, Docker, Kubernetes, AWS, EKS, RDS, Mongo Atlas, Jenkins, CI/CD, Argo CD, everything. So this makes a complete end-to-end project with front-end, back-end, and security implemented, deployed on the cloud also. Links of both of these courses will be given in the description below. Also, we will try to give some free coupons. Just let us know in the comment section for which course you would need the coupons. We will try to avail the coupons for the courses for free in the next month. Just for a small request, please leave your genuine, honest comments on these courses. That will help us create more such free courses or discounted courses for you guys.
So let's get started with the phase 0, which is AI foundation. This will help us understand the basics of generating AI before writing any code. Now, just for your information, we have created a playlist for AI where the basics of AI is what we have covered. So what is AI, ML, generative AI, how LLM works inside the GPTs, Claude, Gemini, Llama, all how these things work, what are tokens, we have covered even this. What is context window, what is temperature, what is hallucination. We have covered this hallucination in a very, very depth because hallucination is a real problem. And we all as a developer, we face this hallucination problem because it tries to hallucinate us by praising whatever we ask for and say, trying to agree to whatever we say. So this is the hallucination problem which we all of us face when we use the AI part. Then we have the high level concepts like transformers, embedding, prompting, and interfacing. So at the end of this phase 0, you will understand what LLMs can do and what not. For example, the system, what I have already discussed in my previous videos, it cannot do the system designing part like you can do. It needs human intervention. So with the phase 0, you would be able to learn the core concepts of generative AI, and the generative AI is a foundation for agentic AI. So do not think you can skip agentic AI. Sorry, you should skip the generative AI and create the agentic AI. You cannot do that because internally generative AI is the one who generates the answers. Agentic AI is the one who does all the planning, plotting, and other stuff. But internally, agentic AI is the one who does all your basic jobs. And we should also, by the end of phase 0, know how LLM works internally. Then we will move to phase 1, which is very important because now you have understand the basics. You understand what is AI, what is generative AI, what is agentic AI. You would also understand the difference between agentic AI and the generative AI. Now is a time when you learn how to interact with these LLMs from Java application. So till now, what you have done, you have created a Java application with controller, service, repository layers. External APIs are called through your service layers, and that's a basic application that you've created. Now in this agentic AI world, you have to understand and learn how your Java applications would call the APIs for LLM. So internally, you call the APIs of ChatGPT or Claude and utilize their capabilities in your application. So you would learn how to call the LLM APIs like Claude APIs and other stuff. You would see the prompt engineering. Now for the prompt engineering, we have a complete whole video created. So I'm not going to cover even in the short for this roadmap. Then we have to know how to give the structured JSON response. So many a times your APIs expect JSON responses. While when you give a chat experience with chatbots like ChatGPT, or when you surf on browser, they return you some text HTML kind of stuff. So to understand how to have the structured JSON response, which can be easily consumed by your Java APIs, you need to understand how we can interact with LLMs. So the structured JSON response is where you return a data in a fixed JSON format instead of plain HTML text. Then you should also learn how to stream responses so that the response is sent gradually as and when it is generated, rather than bombarding everything or making the person wait for a long time till it is generated. So this is called as streaming of the response. The last one is very important. The first point was we giving a call to LLM APIs. The last one is function or tool calling, which is where you allow the AI to invoke our APIs or our external endpoints so as to perform the task of fetch the real-time data. For example, you build a customer support AI assistant, which builds an AI-powered application by integrating LLMs into our Java application. Thereby, you understand how to give a call to LLM APIs and how the LLM APIs will give a call to your hooks or controller endpoints. And to have the proper prompt engineering in place, to have proper JSON responses so that your both contracts are in JSON formats and streaming of responses, so that you don't overwhelm with a lot of data which is generated, or you don't have the bad user experience if your user has to wait till the complete answer is generated. So as and when the response is generated, gradually you show it to your users so that you have a good user experience with a smooth user experience. The second phase is where if you have learned all the calling of APIs, the APIs calling your Java endpoints and all those stuff, now the phase 2 is where you learn the Spring AI, because as a Java developer, we know Spring also gives out of box the AI support. So now your Spring Boot application should know how to integrate with Spring AI. So this is where you should learn the Spring AI architecture. That is, understand how Spring AI connects your Spring Boot application with AI models and related components. Then you should know how to connect with OpenAI, Azure OpenAI, and Gemini, so that you know how to call different AI models from your Spring Boot applications. Then we have prompt templates. This is where you can use the prompt engineering with some templatization. Basically, some placeholders where the dynamic values are inserted into the predefined prompts. For example, I want to create a agent who does the PR review for me on behalf of me. So there will be a prompt template which will say something like, as a 12 years experienced Java backend developer, I want to review this PR. The PR is dash, which is a dynamic inserted value, which you will always give and change whenever you have a PR to be reviewed by your agentic AI. And this is how you have the prompt templating. Then you have tool calling, where you allow the AI to invoke your Java methods and external APIs to perform actions and to fetch the data. The sixth one is a chat memory. This is where you store the previous conversation so that your AI or your model remembers the earlier message, which will help him to take the decisions and show the responses with your preferences and your context. So chat memory is very important when you learn the Spring AI, how to create a memory so that your AI application is remembering what the person is asking for a long time and storing all those context. The last one is a structured response, so that you get the AI responses in a predefined format instead of tree or free text or HTML kind of stuff. So an example would be, use AI to seamlessly integrate the AI capabilities into Spring Boot application. With this, when you understand how your Spring Boot will integrate with Spring AI, the next phase will be the phase 3, where you will learn about RAG. Now, RAG is Retrieval Augmented Generation. The goal is to answer your questions using your own customized data. Now, remember two or three very important things when it comes to RAG. This is generative AI kind of stuff, where you ask something and you expect an answer for. For example, you give a policy document. Suppose you are going to go on a maternity leave. So you have a whole policy list. You have many, many policies. Now you give the whole large document to your LLM model and ask the model that what is the maternity or paternity leave during the expectation of pregnancy. How will your model read the whole 100 pages of PDF and find only the maternity leave information for you? For that, the first thing your AI model will do is it will do the document chunking. That is where your whole 100 pages of PDF is split into the smaller pieces so that your AI can search and process them efficiently. The second is very important, which is embedding, which is important for vector database. Now, vector database is the one which helps you to retrieve the relevant information. So embedding is a way of converting those texts into numbers or vectors that represents its meaning, not just its word. For example, if you're searching for maternity policy, then it will also search for to-be mom policies or paternal policies or planning a baby kind of stuff. So this is how you convert just a maternity into a vector which just not represents its meaning, but not just its word, but also the meaning. For example, your maternity will be converted into all sorts of embeddings like maternity, to-be moms, paternity kind of stuff, and all those embeddings where the meaning is also there. The synonyms are also there. The third one is a vector database which stores those embeddings so that you can quickly find those information from your chunked document. The fourth is very important, which is retrieval technique, because it is a process of finding and sending only the most relevant chunk to LLM so that it can guarantee the accurate answer. So in the first part, you have chunked it. In the second and third part, you have stored the embeddings. And in the fourth one, you find only the relevant chunk. So there are many policies like car insurance policy. You ignore it. There is a policy called as employee BFF policies and many other policies. You ignore all of them. You only retrieve the embedding specific chunk where there's a maternity policy there, where there's to-be mom policies, where to-be father policies kind of stuff is there. So the word and all its synonyms and its meaning is what is retrieved from the most important chunk, and rest all chunks are ignored. Then last comes the hybrid search and re-ranking, where we combine the keyword and the semantic search. So keyword search is the exact word you look for, like for example, maternity policy. The semantic search is where you look for similar meanings using embeddings. For example, to-be mom policy, to-be father policy, paternity policy, and so on. So this is where you combine your keyword and semantic search to give the best result possible. For example, if you want to search for car insurance policy, the AI model will not just ask for the car insurance policy, which is a keyword search, but also the semantic search done due to embedding. So embedding just not only find the car insurance policy, but also have the meanings. For example, automobile insurance policy or motor insurance policy kind of stuff, which is not just the word, but also its synonyms and its meanings, which is stored in the vector database, which helps in the relevant fetch from the large document. And that is what is RAG, which helps you find the relevant information from the 100 page of PDF. Now, for example, the PDF chat assistant or policy search assistant. The policy search assistant will just take the name of the policy that you want to search from, and out of 100 policies, you will be able to search the best policy available. Or PDF chat assistant, where you upload the PDF is then extracted with the text and chunked. This is document chunking. Then the embedding is created and stored in VectorDB. Then the user is asking a question. Then the relevant chunk of that chunked text from the document is fetched and sent with the question to LLM. And LLM has that power to understand that chunk and give the answer to your question. So that's how the RAG is created. The RAG is the one who answers to your question. So this is very simple. This is generative AI, where you ask a question, you will get an answer. This is not agentic AI. Agentic AI is far more than just question and answer stuff. So for this chatbot, PDF chatbot kind of stuff, you have a UI where you type the question to get your answer. So it's question answer kind of stuff, generative AI. Then you have Spring Boot backend, which receives the request and coordinate the entire flow. You have memory to store the previous conversations. You have RAG pipeline to search the document for relevant information, a vector database to store your embeddings, a retriever to find the most relevant document chunk and reject all others, prompt builder to combine the user question, relevant document and instruction in one single prompt, which will help LLM to give you a proper response, and LLM, which is one who is going to generate the final answer for you. So these are the components of the generative AI. For example, a chatbot. So phase 3 was all about generative AI. Phase 4 is agentic AI. Now here you will understand how AI agents work beyond a simple generative AI. You will learn how AI agents reason, plan, and perform a task beyond just question answering. So now when you learn about agentic AI fundamentals, you will learn how your chatbot's RAG is different from AI agents. You will understand what are the agent components like memory, tools, planning, LLMs, and all. Then you will learn about agentic lifecycle, which is very important because that decides how your agent is going to perform in real time, and a react pattern. For example, a customer support agent which asks, "Where is my order? Please help. It is not arrived yet." So it is not just a question and answer kind of stuff. The agent will check the customer details. It will check the order status. It will look for shipment tracking, check the refund policies, and suggest whether you want a refund or a replacement. So these are 5 steps that it plans, it does, it validates and answers to you. So it is different from the generative AI. It not just answers that, sorry, your order is not arrived. Rather, it does multiple 5 steps to check whether is the order, whether you are the correct customer, what is the tracking status, and now then it takes the decision also whether it has to replace or refund. So that's generative AI for you. So in phase 4, you learn what AI agents are and how do they think. Now with the 5th phase, you will learn how to build those AI agents using the enterprise grade frameworks like LangGraph and semantic kernels. So now the 5th phase, since you have learned the basics of AI agents, you will start building a real AI agent using frameworks. Now there are 6 frameworks out there in the market which will help you create the AI agent. So LangGraph is a framework which helps you in building an AI agent as a workflow with multiple steps. While the graph-based workflows is where you define an agent as a graph where each node performs a task and the edge decides the next step. The third is the conditional routing where agent chooses the different path based on the results of condition. The fourth is human approval, which pause for the workflow and wait for human to approve or reject an action. This is where human intervention and manual work is required. In these, there is nothing like that. You can just define a graph or a conditional routing and it will work automatically. Then durable execution, where the agent state is saved so that it can resume from where it stopped after failure and restart. And the semantic based basics kernel, where you learn another AI frameworks for building the agents, plugins, and orchestrating the AI task. For example, you will see the incident analysis agent who will not just give you an answer that okay, there's some issue in your production code, but rather it understands what is the bug, it finds out where this bug is, it finds a relevant class, it gives a P1 or P2 incident call to the developer and tell them that at this part of your code, this is where the issue came, and this might be a possible solution which you can deploy and make sure that we have the proper solution for this incident. So AI framework is created to make your life easy by doing all those stuff which was manual is now going to be automated with AI frameworks. So basically the phase 5 is different from phase 4, where phase 4 you will learn the basics of agents. In phase 5 you will learn how to create an agent who will be able to reason, plan, and perform tasks beyond just answering your questions. Now, phase 6 is very important, where you will create multiple AI agents who collaborate with each other. So, this phase teaches you how to build a team of AI agents. So, just like in the team, you have one front end developer, one back end developer, one DevOps, one database guy, and this is how you create a team. Similarly, in the agent, you will create a front end agent whose model is trained for front end specific stuff. You can have a backend agent whose models are very specific to backend development and incident issue analysis for the backend issues, the database agents, and so on. So this is how you create a team of AI agents where each agent has specific responsibility and they all work together to create a complex system like e-commerce system. So for example, a planner agent, a research agent, a reviewer agent, a task delegation or agent communication, or an e-commerce website creation kind of stuff. So for example, a finance team, research team will have multiple agents, one who analyzes the stock, the second who have the market newses, the third one creates the financial reports and then produce an investment report. Or a software delivery team who has a different agent, one for generating the front end code, one for generating the back end code, one for writing the test, one for reviewing the each other code and then preparing a deployment document. The support DevOps team have the different logs, infrastructures, diagnosing failures and suggest fixes. So in the phase 5, you have understand how to create a single agent system. Now with phase 6, you will have a multi-agent system where each system is specialized to collaborate and handle a specific responsibility to complete a bigger and complex task. So designs systems where multiple specialized agents collaborate to solve a bigger problem. That's phase 6 for you. The 7th phase is where you do the enterprise agent engineering, where you create a production ready system. This phase focuses on making your AI application having of multiple AI agents who do their task perfectly, individually, autonomously, so that you make the application which is reliable, secure, ready for real-time use in production. So in production, you just not need the front end and back end, but you also need security, you also need observability, you also need hallucination detection, you also need caching, you also need evaluation and those stuff. So observability is where you monitor AI request responses, token usage, latency, errors, and all the cost in the AI deployment. The evaluation is measure how accurate your AI responses are. The hallucination detection is where you understand that your AI is not generating a made up data or made up information, but generating based on the correct facts. That's hallucination detection. Then guardrail, which prevents prompt injection, invalid responses, unsafe inputs and outputs. Security is to protect and prevent the access control through AI, so AI APIs and AI services. Caching is going to store the frequently used AI responses to reduce cost and improve the response time for users and have the better user experience. So these 6 steps are very essential when you create an enterprise AI agentic application, because this makes the AI application production ready with proper monitoring, security, evaluations, and reliability. Now, the last phase, that is phase 8, is where you architect for Java developer. So this helps you design a scalable enterprise level application. This is an architectural phase where instead of learning the AI features, you learn how to design and deploy the AI systems the way the larger companies like Uber and other stuff do. So that's where you learn AI microservices, where you split your AI into independent services, where one is the agentic service, one is a rack service, one is a model training service for easier scaling and maintaining. Then you create a event-driven AI with Kafka, where your Kafka is used to exchange events between the different AI services. The agentic AI gives the request to rack service, the rack service gives a request to model service, and so on. So they can communicate with each other. The AI applications should be able to communicate with each other asynchronously. That is where agentic AI comes with event-driven AI with Kafka. Then Kubernetes deployment helps you deploy, scale, and manage your AI APIs. The cost optimization prevents the cost utilization overuse by choosing the right model, caching responses, and optimizing prompts and token usage. So AI architecture and design patterns helps you learn many common patterns, the router, planner, evaluator, human in loop kind of stuff, so that you can create scalable and usable AI systems. So this phase teaches you how to architect, deploy, scale, and optimize the enterprise AI application using modern practices. So at the end, you can create these 4 kinds of projects which will help you become a beginner, intermediate, advanced, and expert kind of person. So in the beginner, you can create a AI resume analyzer, where you will upload a resume, use LLM API to summarize it, identify skill, and suggest the improvements. This is a very basic phase 0 kind of stuff where you use LLM APIs, prompts, and structured outputs. To become an intermediate level of AI agentic developer, you can create an enterprise document assistant which helps you chat with the company documents using RAG to answer your questions. So this is where you use RAG agentic AIs, the Spring AI embeddings, Vector DB, and all. The third one is the advanced project, where you can create SQL agentic analyzer, where you convert your natural language into SQL and use the tool calling agentics, AIs, and databases. And the last one is the expert level of project, where you create a multi-agent enterprise platform where you have multiple AI agents, the researcher, reviewer, who collaborate to complete a common task. And you can use the different kind of LangGraph, multi-agent, orchestration, guardrail, observability, production architecture kind of stuff. So all these 4 projects combine everything that we have learned through. And this production takes you from I know Java and Spring Boot to I can architect and build enterprise level agentic AI system, which is what is in need right now and very hot and trending in the market. So as an overall journey, you will start learning the AI basics. Then you should go for LLM APIs. Then you should learn how to integrate with Spring AI. Then you should learn the generative AI with RAG. Then you should see agentic AIs, the agentic framework creations, multi-agent system creation, creating a production-ready AI multi-agent system, and AI enterprise architecture kind of stuff. And that is where your AI roadmap ends, where you start with very basics, you learn intermediate kind of stuff, and you end up creating a production-level enterprise AI applications communicating each other with synchronous or asynchronous calls.